In Ogun State, Governor Dapo Abiodun has assured residents that his administration will continue to demonstrate commitment towards developing the state by improving key areas such as health, education, infrastructure, commerce, youth development, and agriculture. He made this known during the official inauguration of the 4-kilometer Oba Erinwole Road in Sagamu Local Government Area of the state. TVC News' Sagamu Local reports.
Ogun State Governor has inaugurated the 4-kilometer Oba Erinwole Road in Sagamu. The road was in a poor condition when his administration came on board in 2019, and his intervention has helped the residents and motorists in the area. While speaking about the condition of the road in the past, the governor noted that the previous administration left the road unattended to despite its direct bearing on the socio-economic lives of the people, which according to him led to the deplorable condition of the important road. He said the newly fixed road will serve different companies in the area and serve as a link to Ikorodu area of Lagos State.
I can only assure you that we are not going to rest on our oars. We will continue to demonstrate our commitment in development and partnership with our people in education, health, infrastructure, commerce, youth development, agriculture, and all other pillars of our development agenda. Let me, by this, call on all other stakeholders to continue to cooperate with us. As development partners in Ogun State, we will walk this path of glory together.
The governor pointed out that his administration in the last 3.5 years has been able to rekindle the hope of the people by deploying alternative financial strategies through the public-private partnership in executing projects across the state.
To an inclusive development of every part of the state. As I can assure you that any project that has a clear line of service and benefit to our people will be given major attention.
The Akaribu and paramount ruler of Remo Land, Oba Babatunde Ajayi, commended the governor for his developmental programs and projects across the state. He noted that the incumbent administration will be a reference point for years to come in the state. Other stakeholders say during the construction, the road project provided direct and indirect jobs for the people of the area and stimulate the local economy. Sagamu Local, TVC News, Sagamu.
Thanks for joining us on TVC Midday News. I am Mike Okwoche. Let's get to the news now. We're beginning the nation's capital, where the Federal High Court has ordered the final forfeiture of 775 million and some properties linked to former Accountant General of the Federation, Jonah Otunla, and the Colonel Bello Fadile, aide to former National Security Advisor, Colonel Sambo Dasuki. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission's counsel, Christopher Mshelia, moved a motion for the final forfeiture of the assets in court on Monday. He informed the court that the assets recovered by the anti-agency or anti-graft agency in the course of investigating contract fraud in the office of the National Security Advisor under Sambo Dasuki were proceeds of the unlawful activities of Colonel Fadile and former Accountant General of the Federation, Jonah Otunla. Now, the properties are located at number 8 Ajayi Crowther Street, Asokoro, Abuja, a plot of land at plot 1960, Cadastral Zone A05, Maitama District, Abuja, a hotel which is under construction with generating set located at plot 1621 Road 37, Gwarimpa, FCT, Abuja, and a twin 4-bedroom duplex with guard quarters located at plot 736 7th Avenue, Gwarimpa, FCT in Abuja. And to security matters now, a combined team of police and military operatives have rescued 76 people who were kidnapped by bandits along the Zaria-Funtua Road in Kaduna State. The spokesman of the Kaduna State Police Command, Mohammed Jalige, confirmed the development in a statement on Monday. He said that the passengers were kidnapped by bandits on November 18. The police public relations officer explained that following the incident, a combined team of police and military personnel launched an immediate search and rescue operation into the adjoining streets and forests. According to him, the bandits were encountered and subdued by the superior firepower of the security operatives, thereby forcing them to escape. However, thorough combing of the forest for over several hours by the crack operatives led to the rescue of 76 kidnapped victims, comprising male, females of different ages. He stated further that preliminary investigation revealed that the victims were traveling from Sagamu Local Government of Sagamu State en route different destinations when they were intercepted by the bandits. All right, when he appeared, Nigeria was winning the war against insurgency. It is now confronted with another insecurity situation, the armed banditry in a large scale. By April 2021, the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs counted over 25,000 internally displaced Nigerians in the northern region of Nigeria who had fled their homes for better protected towns. Joining us now to speak more on this is the communications coordinator of the ICRC, Robin Waudo. It's nice to have you join us, Waudo.
Thank you for having us.
Great. Now, talk to us generally about, we can understand how challenging it can be trying to coordinate people who are scared, people who lack a lot of things, and then you have to camp them somewhere to ensure that they have the needed things of life. But share with us some of the challenges, especially when you are encountering new people in a situation like that.
Thank you for this opportunity. Indeed, the International Committee of the Red Cross, the ICRC, is working in different parts of Nigeria where people are affected by violence or the armed conflict that is going on in the northeast of the country. And because of this, you have said a lot of people are displaced. We are talking hundreds of thousands of people. And when they are displaced, they have nothing to live. They don't have basic water, food, shelter, security. These kind of things are what we provide them in some of the camps in the different parts of the northeast in the country. This is very challenging because, first of all, we have to logistically be able to bring these materials to where the people will be. But in places that are really far to reach, like Damboa, in different parts of the northeast, in Borno or in Bama, there are security issues. Reaching these places and delivering this aid is the main challenge that we are faced with.
But knowing that the ICRC is a neutral party to any of those kind of conflicts, when you come across non-state actors, what is their engagement with your personnel like? How do they perceive you?
It is, first of all, very difficult for us to get in contact with non-state actors because, as we know, there is a conflict going on and there's a confrontation between these actors and the government forces. So it's very difficult for us to be able to reach them and be able to talk to them. So we have to use other means. We use relays, like talking to different parties that might be able to transmit messages to them. But our message is simple. First of all, civilians and their property is protected. This is a very general rule in international humanitarian law, but it is even a law in this country, and it is a law of morals too.
I see. So what kind of support do you get, considering the fact that you are helping Nigerians or you're helping Nigerians or Chadians or Cameroonians in their countries and all of that, or sometimes in the case of refugees, what kind of assistance do you get from governments, and international organizations, and even institutions and organizations within the country?
First and foremost, we get support from the host countries themselves. You've talked about different countries. In Nigeria, we are working very closely with the government authorities. We have good contact with the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Water, because we have to provide these services to people who are affected. And that support is not just in terms of dialogue, but in agreement. We have memorandums of understanding where the Ministry of Health will provide A and we will provide B, or the Ministry of Water. So the collaboration is ongoing, not only in Abuja or in Lagos, but far away in the field where you have local leaders. This collaboration, we can say, has been good because it enables the ICRC to be able to assist thousands of people every year.
So we're counting about 25,000 internally displaced Nigerians in Nigeria, as it is, or that's a number of people. Talk to us basically, what are the most needed things that you have to cater for these people? What do you have and what do you not have?
As I mentioned earlier, people who are displaced end up with nothing because they have run away from their homes for fear of their lives or their safety. So they first of all need shelter. They need a place to stay. So we assist in helping them to build shelters. They need water and sanitation, very basic things which we all have in our homes and we don't see like they're very much needed. But we will do water and sanitation, shelter, health. We provide them with food at times or non-food items that they can use. We also assist them in case a family member has been lost while they were fleeing. We try to find those family members and reunite them with their families. But most of all, we need to be able to talk to the parties, both the government authorities and any other parties who are involved, in order to create an environment that creates a sense of protection for these people. Because they have fled, this is their first point. They need to be secure.
What is the story around the Northwest? Because, well, the Northeast seemed to be calm to some extent in comparative terms to the last, say, 5 years or 6 years. But the point there, what's the story in the Northwest where you have more of bandits, you know, kidnapping people and so on in the last months?
First of all, I hope that to put the record straight, the Northeast is still quite problematic. There is an armed conflict going on. There are military operations. There are thousands of people being displaced. So we cannot call it calm.
Okay.
However, the Northwest is a different story. There is no two parties fighting like in the Northeast, but there is a situation. You have talked about banditry. Yes, there is the kind of violence that is displacing thousands of people like you have just mentioned. And we are not very active in the Northwest, although we have offices in Kano and in Jos, which is not quite the Northwest. But this is something we are looking at and thinking about how to assist these people who are also being affected by violence. We are expanding our knowledge, trying to understand it more, talking especially with the Nigerian Red Cross and others.
I see. So, and others. Share with us, when it comes to interagency collaboration and that friendship and that working together, what other organizations do you work with?
Well, we work with all the humanitarian organizations, and you know there are so many of them, from the United Nations agencies and programs that are operational, Oxfam, Save the Children. There are so many international organizations working out there to assist people and to protect them, as well as national organizations. And we normally have to meet these organizations. In Abuja, we attend the humanitarian coordination meeting that is held every week to talk about water and sanitation issues, protection issues, and other assistance. We are not alone. There is a huge task ahead of us. And I believe that in coordination with others, we can perform much better. So this is how we are working in Nigeria, but everywhere else in the world. And not forgetting that we work very closely with the authorities as well, as I had mentioned.
Okay.
Yes.
Robin Waudo, Communications Coordinator, ICRC, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Great.
the opportunity.
The National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies has called on the National Assembly to amend the Constitution so as to address the high turnover of lawmakers at federal and state levels. The NILDS Director General, Abubakar Suleiman, made the call in a lecture on the high turnover of lawmakers, impact and way forward. National Assembly correspondent Joke Adisa reports.
As at the last count, 135 of the 360 members of the House of Representatives will not be returning to the Parliament in the next assembly. This is because they failed to secure the tickets of their respective political parties to partake in the 2023 elections. Of more concern is that some of the members on INEC's ballot may not win the election after all. It is a topic for discussion at this event organized by the House of Representatives Press Corps. DG News is worried about the high turnover of lawmakers, its impact, and the way forward. He identifies the excesses of the executives, particularly the state governors, as one of the factors responsible for the low number of lawmakers who get to return to the Parliament. The challenge from the guest lecturer to the National Assembly is that the Constitution must be amended.
So because of this ego and complex, however vibrant, good you are, they don't want to see you in the Senate. We need to curb the rascality of the executive if actually we want democracy to grow in this country.
Those who feel the heat are the lawmakers.
The frequent turnover is a serious problem. The older, the better. The more experience, the better legislature.
We have passed it into law, but if you ask your people from your various areas where you come from, how much of it they understand, I can assure you there is a little understanding of the Electoral Act.
For the organizer and one of the organizations that have committed to building the capacity of the legislators, advocacy is key.
The federal level needs to collaborate with the states, and both have to find a solution together.
We're also looking at situation where those involved, the major stakeholders like the National Assembly, will hold a critical stakeholders summit on the theme or dangers or implication of high turnover of lawmakers.
High point of the event is the presentation of awards to deserving citizens and organizations. No doubt Nigeria requires a new approach to ensuring that investments, including training and finances, expended on legislators across the country are not wasted as a result of high turnover every 4 years. Joke Edsa, TVC News, Abuja.
A former governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Kaide Fayemi, says posterity will always recall huge sacrifice and innovation that Governor Adegboyega Oyetola has demonstrated in providing social welfare and infrastructure without borrowing, despite paucity of funds in the state. The former governor was speaking at the inauguration of some road projects executed by the administration of Governor Oyetola in Ogun State. TVC News correspondent Rafiu Hamid reports.
Lubuyifan Road was flagged off early this year. Though a federal road, the 10-kilometer road had been in a sorry state for more than 25 years.
We took permission from the Federal Ministry of Works. They asked us to go ahead and reconstruct this road. And I want to thank God that less than a year, we were able to complete this 10-kilometer Lameko, Okini, Ilubuyifan Road.
Governor Adegboyega Oyetola invites former Governor Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State to inaugurate the road.
When you compare what has been done in this short space of 4 years by Governor Oyetola with what obtained in many of those states that we know where derivation money is available, where the federal allocation from federation account is huge, then you would appreciate the enormity of the effort put in place by Governor Oyetola Oyetola.
Construction of the federal roads we are inaugurating today is a dream come true for the entire state in Nigeria and the residents and travelers on this route, Ogun State in particular. It's also a fulfillment of the desire of our administration to fix all physical roads infrastructure development, not minding the classification, whether they are federal, state, or local government, for the comfort of our citizens and residents of Osun, and for further enhancement of the socio-economic activities of the good people of the state.
Dr. Kayode Fayemi also inaugurated 18-kilometer Osogbo-Kelebe-Ragbiji Road. Residents of both communities are happy that the governor completed the roads in record time.
It has been a long time that this road has been there without any meaningful development. But we are very grateful today to the governor of Osun State, Governor Adegboyega Oyetola, for the construction of this road.
The roads are some of the projects embarked upon by the present administration to alleviate the sufferings of the people. Rafiu Hamid, TVC News, Osogbo.
The governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Delta State, Oborevori Sheriff, has described the humongous debt profile of the country under the All Progressives Congress as life-threatening. The Speaker of the Delta State House of Assembly, while addressing a mammoth crowd of party faithful in Sapele, Delta State, disclosed that the hardship, poverty, and constant devaluation of the Nigerian currency, the Naira, was as a result of the $40 billion foreign debts and other loans. The candidate assured the people of Delta State that he would expand the scope of overall development of the 3 senatorial districts and ensure a sustained, equitable distribution of state resources. The prevalence of cancer cases in parts of Katsina State has compelled the Katsina Elders Forum to once again urge the federal government, the Federal Ministry of Health, to release the funds appropriated for the completion and furnishing of a cancer center at Katsina Teaching Hospital. The call was made by the Secretary of the Forum at the commissioning of some amenity wards at the Federal Teaching Hospital, Katsina, courtesy of some philanthropists. TVC News correspondent Abdulatif Yusuf has the story.
The increase in population in parts of the country has continued to expose the infrastructural gap that exists and the need for collaborative efforts between the government and the people to address them. Some organizations and individual philanthropists are already taking the lead in provision of complementary amenities in schools and hospitals. These 10-bedded amenity ward were built by some indigents of the state and upgraded by the hospital to meet the required standards.
So this amenity wards, the first one was built by the late Emir of Katsina, late Sarki Kabir Osman of blessed memory. They have tried to build what the well-to-do see when they go outside the country, so as to stop medical tourism. Now that we have this, we have the facilities, we have the personnel, then maybe they will now reduce the way they're looking for dollars and come and patronize our own healthcare professionals here.
The State Chief Judge, Musa Daladi, led the commissioning of the wards and called on well-to-do to emulate the gesture.
Facilities, I believe our public institutions like hospitals, schools can reach world standard if there is the commitment and the determination. And this is what we are just seeing.
But there is need to put in more effort to properly equipping tertiary health centers to discourage medical tourism. The State Commissioner of Health and the representative of the Elders Forum are on the same page, calling on the Minister of Health to assist the people of the state through the release of the funds meant for the equipment to be used for the cancer center in the hospital.
Last year, when the money was about to be mopped up, we wrote a letter to Mr. President who gave clear directives that the money should be warehoused and be given time to enable all the hospitals purchase their equipment. Now, to date, this minister has not presented the memo, despite the letters received from the president through the chief of staff to Mr. President.
It is hoped that the new hospital wards will not only benefit patients, but will also boost the revenue source of the hospital. Abdulatif Yusuf, TVC News, Katsina.
The attention of our management has been drawn to a publication by a Hawks Twitter account, tvcnews.ng, purportedly announcing a presidential debate to be conducted by TVC News. Management is dissociating itself from this online channel and all information contained in it. In a statement issued by the management of TVC Communications, and I quote, that this is a fraudulent Twitter account and has no connection whatsoever with TVC News or any TVC Communications outlets. Management is asking the general public to avoid any dealings with this group or persons organizing such a debate in their name. The statement also confirms that the social media handles remain at TVC News NG on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.